you to this webinar. Okay, I'll repeat that. Welcome to all of you to this webinar on back pain management. I'm Deep, and I've been a yoga teacher for quite some time. I work with Shvasa full-time at Shvasa, and we are one of the new age platforms for yoga because we run only online live yoga classes. And that's also how we're able to meet you and have this webinar also online. And I'll talk more about that. This is probably a 90-minute webinar. Hopefully we'll get most of things covered in that 90-minute. And to tell you briefly about what we look forward to today, I'll start out with the topic itself, back pain, and then we will look into some of the reasons and maybe some of the solutions. And more importantly, we look at yoga as a solution for back pain. And post that, we'll do a short practice, and to experience yoga practice, especially asana practice, the body practices, to understand how yoga could help us in managing back pain. And then, of course, we'll talk about what could be next steps for you to go ahead with, say, a back management program with Shvasa or even otherwise. And what do we have to offer in terms of online yoga classes? What can you avail from Shvasa? That's something we'll talk about later on. And then, of course, at the end, we have some question and answers. You could make notes of any questions that you might have, and we'll surely get to that at the end of the program. Or somewhere in the first half where I'm talking about the back conditions or back physiology, anatomy. If you have questions, you can always stop. I just wanted to ask all of you if my audio is clear one last time. I hope it's clear because that's going to be important. I'll be talking quite a bit. Like I mentioned, we will be doing practice at the middle. For now, you can come closer to the screen, sit comfortably, either on a chair or like on the mat, but you can stay closer so the audio is clear. Let's get started. I'll be sharing a screen sharing disabled. Sumuk, you're there. Can you help me with screen sharing?
So right in the middle of the screen, there is a green button, right?
Yeah,
Pradeep?
I just been made the host, so I'm sure I will be able to. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. I hope all of you can see the screen, and I'm gonna. Let me know if the screen is moving for you, all of you. Verbal, yeah. You can see Shvasa logo. That's the company we run, a year-old company, and we are into online live classes. So if everybody is able to see my screen and also hear my voice, I'll go ahead. And this is a back pain management webinar that we are offering. And what do you think we'll cover in this webinar? We'll come to that very soon. Tell me a little bit about Shvasa. I just said that it's a year-old company, and we started during the COVID or in the middle of COVID when things had to move online. And obviously yoga moved online, but a lot of the features that need to be adapted to online wasn't there. I mean, yoga just moved
Pradeep, I'm sorry. Can you please mute all of us, and you can unmute whenever we can.
Yeah.
There is a lot of background noise and distraction.
Yeah, I was about to. I'm just looking for the option to mute everybody. Can all of you mute yourself? I'm trying to find that option. Meanwhile, if you can mute yourself.
Pradeep, if you go to the participants,
Yeah.
I think at the end you will see mute all.
Sure. I need to scroll down. Let me do that. Sumuk, thank you. Some reason I'm not able to see that option.
Yeah.
Call.
Maybe on the top, there is this option in the list of the participants.
Pradeep, you may be able to see whose mic is on, having a green.
Yeah, I'm scrolling down and trying to
Yeah,
mute
that will
manually.
scroll for you here.
But
Right now, there are 3 people who are unmuted.
Pratyusha, I think you're on speaker. See if you can mute yourself. I'm not able to mute you. This is just, I think, one person who's. Dhaneshwar, can you mute yourself? I'm not able to mute you. Sorry for the late start. Let's fix this and then we should be able to start off immediately. Sumuk, thank you. Okay, here we are back to where we left. So hope everybody is able to hear me out clearly and the slides as well. So I was talking about Shvasa and how we had to go online, and it was pretty early on for an online yoga program, which is how we had to figure out quite a few of the nuances that had to be introduced. And if you come and practice with us, you'll know that we did make the best we could with the online platform. It created a lot of features to the online yoga practice. And you guys can hear me, right?
Yeah, we can hear you, Pradeep.
Okay, thank you, Sumant. So that's the first thing that we do. We run online yoga classes, but what's important is we run live classes. We don't run just online recorded classes, and that makes a huge difference. The teacher is in front of the students and helping them fix the posture, avoid mistakes, and be safe in the practice throughout. And that's like a big difference from practicing on your own, watching a video, than a teacher observing you and giving you the right practice. And our group sessions are quite small. I would say it's only about 15 people. So the screen allows us to see each one of them very clearly and identify how they're doing. And we also do quite a bit of breath related practice, meaning we can even watch the breath. I mean, watching how they are breathing in the practice, helping them coordinate the breath movement with the posture. So obviously we do help them with the postural correction as well. Personal sessions are also something that we do, and we run classes for all age groups and all conditions, health conditions that can be managed through yoga program. We have a one-on-one, and so that's also something that we offer. And very quickly, like I said, this is yoga has gone online. There is a huge support team we need that will support the whole platform itself. We have our own platform, a video conferencing platform that we run our programs on. So all that you do, all the practice that you do, all your information is all safe and secure with us. And that's
Pradeep, Pradeep, the slides have gone away. So you just have to share it again.
Oh, is it? Okay, just a moment. Let me then. So when let me, can you guys see the
Yes.
slides now?
Yeah. Yes.
We talk about all of this, then I'll move ahead. Group personal sessions and strong tech team, and also platform is safe and secure. Okay. About me, I'm Pradeep, and I have a master's degree in yoga, applied yogic science, meaning when yoga started to be applied for health reasons, yoga had to be adapted. You know, yoga was meant for something else, for self-realization mostly. And in the modern day, say in the last 100 years, yoga practices have been used for health purpose, both physical and mental, physiological. And so there had to be an adaptation process, the whole application of these practices, modify them, and then apply it to individuals with specific health conditions. So that's what I specialize in my course. And I've been teaching yoga for quite some time now, both in person and now online. So I'll be sharing from all that experience, about 20 years of experience of teaching yoga. I also train yoga instructors, so I also understand what it takes to become a teacher and how can teachers help students with their health conditions. Also to make the whole program, the execution part itself, very smooth and systematic. So that's a little bit about me. And let's move on to the agenda for today. Very quickly, we will talk about what is back pain, causes of back pain, and types, also what types, different types of back pain that one may experience. And then very important, yoga for back pain. That's going to be an important part of our webinar. So hopefully you're all waiting for that. Then of course, in the middle, we have a practice part. We will be doing some simple yoga practices. So just put your mat out for now. You don't have to use it immediately. Sit on a chair. And maybe we'll also look at postural alignment. Most of us sit for very long hours at the desk. And it's very important for us to understand a little bit about what would be the best posture to adapt while we are sitting for long hours at our desk. We'll also talk about what the next steps are for anybody who's looking for yoga as a solution or to complement their medical intervention, say use yoga alongside, say, medication or physical therapy that you might be doing. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. And finally, we'll open up for question and answers, anything to be personalized, your personal condition, and hopefully we'll have time to cover everybody's queries. If not, you're most welcome to chat in the group. All of you are in the group, I suppose, in the WhatsApp group, and you're most welcome to raise questions there if you're not able to address all questions here in the webinar. We'll continue our conversations in the WhatsApp group. And just a moment. We also have a special offer for people who are attending the webinar. I mean, this is an offer for you to join Shvasa online classes. So I'll be announcing that later on. So hopefully all of you will sit through, not just because of the offer, but hopefully this is a useful webinar, information that you can utilize to take care of your back or to take care of people around you, family, friends. Let's get started. Just a moment. What is back pain? Usually, pain in the form of aching at certain part of the back. It could be lower back, you could say, but also the upper back, neck, a shooting pain or a burning sensation or a stabbing kind of a sensation in the back region, anywhere in the back region. This is what we call as back pain. And sometimes it is not limited to the back. It might radiate to the leg, either of the leg, right leg, left. And so which means back pain, back condition, pain most of the time is experienced in the back, but sometimes it also is experienced in the leg, the extremity. Sometimes shoulder pain could also radiate to the arm, but point is the back pain is not restricted to the back. Now, what could make it worse? I mean, bending, twisting, lifting, standing or walking, some of these activities make it worse. And so if you have a certain back condition, if it's not getting better even after a week, or you've taken some painkiller, some medication, and it still remains, then I think it's important that you realize that this is something to be addressed immediately, and maybe visit a doctor and check. Sometimes it just goes away, you rest, and most back pains would go away. I mean, at least in the early part of our life, when we stress ourselves too much, or we play a sport and the back hurts, and then we rest and it goes away. But if it's not, if it persists, then we'll have to look at visiting a doctor and getting it cleared. One of the most common causes of back pain. I'll just have a quick bit of information about the spine itself. I'm sure if you have a back condition, you would have done some research, would have known, looked at some videos, and you know about the back, the vertebra itself, and the spine itself, and different parts of the spine. The lumbar back, the lumbar spine is the lower back. And then we have the upper back, we have the neck, cervical. So I'm sure you must have done some research just to understand that our spine has a soft substance in between that absorbs shock, be it when we are playing a sport, or even when we're doing simple things at home, moving the body, moving the spine itself. There is this soft substance in between two vertebrae that absorbs shock, and that's an important part. It's a jelly-like substance, so it can take in shock and it gets back in shape very quickly. What's important to also understand is that our spinal cord also passes through the spine, the inside of the spine. Maybe one more picture, we will be able to look at that very clearly. So just a brief understanding of how the spine is, the vertebra. Each of those bones are called vertebra, and then there are about 33 in a human spine, and in between we have a soft substance, the disc. And what are the most common causes of back pain? First, let's come to the muscular part of it. We have quite a bit of muscular pain. It may not be something to do with the bone or the nervous system, but just muscular. The back muscles are strained. You've been, I mean, you've never played a sport for long, or you've never done a particular physical activity for long, which involves the lower back muscle. Then you do that one day. Next day, you feel soreness in the lower back. And that's mostly muscular pain. And usually it should go away unless it's a tear, a muscular tear, ligamental tear, that stays for long. But that still is a muscular level. It's not to do with the joint, the spine, or the nervous system. I did talk about this soft substance in between the vertebrae, and that is, like I said, soft jelly-like. So sometimes we accidentally, or with a lot of impact or force, we might start to damage the outer surface, and it might start to bulge out. So bulging disc is a common problem. As we age, most of us might have this. This may not cause pain all the time. We might have disc bulging, but as long as it's not hitting a nerve, we may not experience pain. Only when you do a scan, MRI, you will see the disc being bulged out of its place a little, but you may not experience any pain at all. So most of us might be just fine, even if you have a bulging disc. But if it gets bad, worse, and it starts to hit a nerve, it impinges on a nerve, that's when we start to experience pain. And so there are a lot of conditions that we'll talk about, slip disc, sciatica. All of these are conditions where the disc is now hitting the nerves, and that causes pain. Arthritis is one other common cause of back pain. Obviously, arthritis is inflammation in a joint. So spine being a joint, you might find inflammation for various reasons, and usually old age, and that also causes pain. Just like in any other joint, you might have arthritis of the wrist or a thumb or any other joint. Osteoporosis is where the calcium of the bone starts to deplete. That is, again, aging is one of the problems, or the lack of proper nutrition is one other reason. Hormonal condition reasons also are there, which causes osteoporosis. Again, later, mostly in the later part of our life, even that causes back pain. So here we have a certain muscular condition, nervous condition, and also bone joint related conditions. So there could be various of these conditions that causes back pain. And this, especially muscular and nervous conditions, it may not always be a physical reason. The psychological reasons why our postures are bad, and how those bad postures then affect our spine and it causes pain. And so psychological reasons are also there. And even though we may not really put it out here, but you should know that, okay, there could be some stress, depression. It's seen that people with stress and depression usually have some kind of a back condition. And so there could be those conditions which may not directly be affecting the back, but because of lack of bodily awareness, lack of exercising, or lack of the right posture, we might even have back conditions because of psychology. All right. Muscular strain, I briefly mentioned about the back muscles being strained, ligaments being torn or strained. This is mostly moving the body, exercising, lifting weight, or just walking too much. Say all of a sudden you had to walk a lot, and so carrying heavy weights, baggage, luggage. So these might be just muscular strain. But the second one we talked about is the nervous condition, where the disc is now impinging on the nerves. Here's a better picture for you to understand that disc, protruding, bulging to the extent that it starts to hit the nerve. You can see that in the picture. The yellow part is the nerve part, and so it starts to impinging. And whatever part this nerve supplies to, that part of the body starts to experience pain. So it may not necessarily be in the lower back, but since the sciatic nerve that you see here, one of the major nerves that supplies to the legs, if the sciatic nerve is being impinged at the lower back, then you will experience pain in the legs, like the thigh or the back of the knee or the calf or the heel even. And so some of you might just feel numbness in one leg. You may not really complain of a lower back pain, but just the numbness in the leg, and that could be sciatica. A sciatic nerve being impinged at the lower back. And even if it's not the sciatic nerve, it's just a localized nerve, then surely we experience pain there, shooting pain in the lower back itself, or the part that it supplies to. And so that's the nervous condition. Just a little bit of understanding will help us how our practice should be, how our physical posture should be. I'm sure some of you at least must have done this research, know a little bit about this, and there are tons of videos which are helpful. But I would still like to go through some of these so that we cover everything, especially those who've never explored these. Okay, what are the risk factors? Who gets a back pain? Age is one of the common factors, we could say. As we age, we could talk about some age-related conditions, the fluid levels, the flexibility is lost, and then of course arthritis, osteoporosis, all of these conditions also cause pain. Wear and tear also causes pain. So age-related, as we age, we might experience some of this. Lack of exercise or physical activity is the other risk factor. Even youngsters complain about pain these days. It's not necessarily as we age. which means lack of physical activity. Starting even at school, if we don't engage in physical activity, not necessarily exercise, but being physically active is very important. Either be it as part of your everyday, or as a personality, you are more of a person who has some physical activity during the day, will always help. So lack of that is one of the risk factors for back pain. Excess weight, very easy to understand that excess weight puts a lot of stress on the lower back, and to carry us around and move the lower back has to bear a lot of stress. And so that's the next risk factor. And then improper lifting, and this causes various kinds of problems. It could be disc related, it could be just muscular, ligamental tear. Lifting heavy weight with the wrong posture has caused problems. People have slip discs, say lifting their child, maybe a young kid, but lifting them in the wrong posture, or lifting even small weights might cause this. So lifting in our everyday life is something that we need to be careful about. So this is one of the risk factors. And of course, we have illnesses, arthritis, and some cancers also cause back conditions. I did mention about depression and anxiety being one of the reasons, how it causes back condition. It's found that most people with depression and anxiety has some kind of back condition. And so it is related in a way because of how you would carry out your daily activity under these conditions. Smoking is also related to back conditions, just an observation. Kidney disease also, you might complain of a back pain, but it could be mostly because of the kidney. But there is some back related pain that you will experience if you have kidney conditions. Okay, the most important part of this webinar, or at least what you will take back, is yoga for back pain. Now, we did talk about, okay, we have these back conditions, we have these risk factors, and how do we solve this? Obviously, there is medical intervention, starting from, just medication like painkillers to even surgery. There could be cases where you will need surgery. And maybe even if you go undergo surgery, but post that, you will have to get back to some physical activity, safe physical activity. And also to prevent back conditions, physical activity is one of the biggest factors beside proper nutrition. So proper nutrition and physical activity are the two major things if you want to avoid back condition. So let's see what yoga has to offer for back pain. I would like to quickly ask some of you, if anybody of you have taken some yoga classes for back condition, very quickly, just unmute yourself and say, yes, I've done this and I've been doing this for some time, and either it's helped you or maybe still working on it. So anybody volunteer? Shalini, please go ahead.
22 participants. Yeah, hi Pradeep. Yes, I've taken the yoga classes for, I started taking yoga classes because of my lower back pain.
Okay.
So, yeah, it has helped a lot. It has helped me improve my posture. It has helped the other areas also.
Sure. And just quickly, Shalini, what kind of practice did you do? Say, what kind of practice within yoga? You have the asana practice, and within asana, you have many things that you could do. Breath practices, or you did, say, Shavasana related relaxation practice. So anything that you remember?
Sorry, I've been doing Shvasa routine. So
Okay.
that's what I'm talking about. So all the
I'm just trying to understand what kind of
all the Surya Namaskar and
okay, physical practice.
back inversions, everything. Yeah.
We had someone else raise hand. Please go ahead, just quickly. Any of you have taken yoga to address your back condition? And if you'd like to quickly share what you did and how it's helped, or if you're still in the process of doing that, just quickly. I don't see any case. Ananta, yes, go ahead, Ananta. Ananta, Okay, maybe
I have been doing a lot of Surya Namaskarams, and that has helped me a lot with my lower back pain.
Sure.
Along with it, I do all the asanas too, cat and cow stretches,
Oh,
and some breathing exercises.
all right. There you go. Cat and cow, most popular one for back condition. Anyway, we will talk a little bit about. Sorry, who's that?
Daily yoga help to eradicate this problem. Your posture should be right, like the Padmasana, Siddhasana, all these asanas, beside all these things, but they are explaining. These are very good for your back pain, all these things.
Yeah, you're talking about seated postures and other postures that you're saying are very good for back.
Postures has to be correct. Postures has to be correct. So these things occur.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think we'll talk exactly about those principles, no matter when you go back to a yoga program or talk to a yoga teacher. You need to know some fundamentals of why yoga can help and how yoga is going to help. Not any physical activity is going to help. You might end up making it worse, and there are cases where the back conditions got worse. So understanding a little bit about what is the back pain condition that I have and what movement or what kind of practices, intensity should be carried out. And so that's something that we will quickly look at. The principles. I think some of you have to make notes because this is your also material for you to go and explore further, understanding these principles. So firstly, how yoga helps is, increased awareness of spine. See, a lot of us have been with our bodies for quite some time. I mean, of course, since we were born, we've been using it all along everyday activity. But how many of us can say that I have a fairly good awareness of my spine or my physical posture, for that matter? It's quite difficult also because of the kind of everyday life that we lead. It's a kind of externalizing kind of activities that we do. Our sense organs are drawn outwards, our mind is drawn outwards. So the awareness of our body has reduced over a period of time. We have less awareness of body compared to, say, older generations. They knew about their spine, they knew about the condition, maybe much better than we have, simply because of kind of activities that we engage in our everyday life. So awareness is something that is going to help you even understand or even address these problems at a very early stage. Most of us don't even know that we already have back pain, but we start to live with it. And then only when it gets really unmanageable, that's when we wake up and say, okay, I need to do something about it. So solution is much easier when it's really early. And so that's what this principle is talking about, that increased awareness of not just spine, of the whole body itself, or also physiological functions. So that is something the yoga will do really well. With the asana practice, with your breath practices and your meditation practices, you will have an increased awareness of your body, especially the spine, because a lot of the postures are simply to do with different movements of the spine. So that's the first principle. Second one is about core strength. If you know about the core, the middle part of the body, physical body, is called the core, just below the rib cage and till the groin, and this whole region. Most of the time we confuse just the abdominal wall to be the core, but that surely is a big part of the core, but not the only part. The entire middle section, including the lower back, the spine, the back muscles, abdominal wall, and also the boundaries above and below this abdominal cavity, is the core. And most of us, again, lack awareness of core, and we don't engage the core in activities. Almost every physical activity requires utility of the core. We need to use the core to, at least if you want to be safe, you have to use the core. And when we don't use the core, when we don't know what the core is, we don't know how to engage it in a certain activity, obviously this is going to affect not only physically our lower back, but it's going to affect a lot of the physiological functions. It's going to affect our breathing as well. We'll be breathing quite shallow, and breathing affects a lot of other mental faculties, apart from, of course, physiological circulation and all kinds. So just to keep it short, core strength, the very center of our physical body is a very important part. And awareness of this and having enough core stability is an important part of how we move our bodies, no matter how, what kind of activities we do in our everyday, even to sit down, even to walk, even to just go up the stairs, come down, sport, you name it, any movement requires core engagement, or at least any movement to be safe requires core engagement. So this is the second principle that we follow in yoga, that we first start building the awareness of the core and strengthening the core. And since lower back is part of the core, we'll also have to be a little careful about how we engage the lower back in the asanas. But nevertheless, the core strengthening is a big part of approach to back care in yoga. Okay, third principle. This one is again a very important one. You see, most of the time we say, okay, I have a back pain, so something wrong in the back, and we start to treat the back, localize. I have a back pain, and I have to do something for the lower back at that region only. But you have to understand that the lower back is being a part of the core is meant to be stable and not meant to be moving so much, because that's the central part. The upper back, the shoulder blade region, the chest part, and the hip joints, these are two regions where we can move more than the lower back. So when most of us stop moving the hips or our hips are stiffer, somebody's okay. Sumok, thank you. I'll share the screen again. So I was talking about how the flexibility of the hip joint and the upper back is an important factor in keeping a back safe. You see, these are joints just above and below the lower back, right? And so if we lack flexibility in these two parts, obviously the stress is going to be transferred onto the lower back. That's why the back takes up so much stress, and obviously wear and tear, and one day it's going to just give up. Whereas if we can, ensure that our upper back, the chest region of the spine, and also the hip joints, the legs and the hip joint, if that joint are flexible, so in our everyday movement, we will also engage those two joints and making sure that our lower back is not undergoing a lot of stress. So that's the third principle of what we do in yoga. We will help make the hip and the upper back more mobile and flexible. And that brings about a big difference in the lower back. Lower back need not take so much stress at all if the hip and the upper back can participate in a lot of the movement, even sitting up, driving, walking, any sport that you play. And one last approach principle that we use in yoga is right nutrition. Obviously, you can exercise, you can do all that, but where will the energy to repair, to restore, to strengthen come from? It has to come from nutrition. And so there's no two words about it, that proper nutrition is an important part of helping our back conditions.
Pradeep, Jackie has a question. What about when a person has too much flexibility and not enough stability?
Yeah, which is why we started with the core, Jackie. The core stability is what you're lacking. You say body is flexible, every joint, spine is moving. So the stability comes from the core, which is why the work has to start from the core. Once you have a stable core, then you build on the other layers of flexibility in the hip and the shoulder joints or whatever else, wherever else. But all of this and almost all practices in yoga, asanas, starts from stabilizing the core. And once that is there, only on top of that, we can add forward bend, back bends, and we are doing arm balances, we're doing inversions. And you need to make sure that the core is the foundation for all this. So I would, my answer in short would be, go back to the core, work on that first. That brings in stability, and then you work on flexibility.
One other question was, how many times do you practice per week for back pain and for how long?
I would like to know what condition to answer accurately, but even if you practice about 15-20 minutes 5 times a week is enough to take care of your back. But based on what condition, it might be more or less. But I'm saying just that for most people, average 15 minutes 5 times a week is time in investment in back care.
And
Pradeep, can you overdo the practice? Is it possible to overdo practice, to do too much?
Sorry, can you ask that again, Martin?
Inhale, look forward.
Is it
Exhale out
overdo
completely.
the practice?
Both the hands
But
at your
too much.
waist. Slowly come up.
Somebody is talking.
Left
Please mute
forward.
yourself.
Right back.
Sorry, Martin, just a moment. We'll just get back to you. And
I think Martin's question was, is it possible to do it too much? Or is there a limit to like how many times you can do it per week? I think.
oh, absolutely. Overdoing is one of the reasons why people also get hurt, and especially in yoga, exercise, sports. Their problem is not inactivity. Their problem is overdoing. And so too much of stress is what might cause back condition in them. And so, yes, even a very healthy person should be doing about 40 to 50 minutes of practice 5 times a week. And that is enough, no matter what kind of physical condition you're in. And that's the limit. And especially if you also want to bring in knowledge from other complementary sciences like Ayurveda, very clearly says over-exercising has its own drawbacks. You should be careful about that. And when you already have a back condition, and most times it worsens because of over-exercising. I hope that was your question, Martin, if I was right.
It is.
Pradeep, can I please make a
I'm doing
request
250
to
minutes
everyone?
every day.
Yes.
Can we have this question answer session at the end of the meeting? So just in case someone wants to leave, then they can leave.
Sure. So please make a note, unless it's a really
Thank
quick
you.
one about the slide itself, please make a note and we should be able to answer that. Okay, enough of talking, I guess. I think we need to do a little bit of practice if you have your mat rolled out. I'll keep it very simple. We will not be doing a lot of practices, some very fundamental practices. And I'll put out a picture on the screen. I hope all of you can see this picture, and I'll guide you in the practice, because I need to watch all of you as well. So first one is a simple cat and cow. Here's the picture of a cat and cow. Look at the screen and then roll your mat out, get onto the mat, all fours, meaning you're on your knees and you're on your palms. That's called the all four position. And that immediately takes off quite a bit of stress on the lower back because of its position and gravity, changing that gravitational force. So palms nice and strong under the shoulders. And what you do is 2 movements back to back. You first start by lifting your chin up as if you're looking up at the ceiling, and you arch your lower back, curl, and then you round the lower back as you put your chin down to the chest. So it's a movement at the hip. So you're moving the hip and the spine together into a arching and then putting the head down. So palms has to be right under the shoulders. Very important. Can you check, Kiran? Your palms are slightly forward. Yeah, please put it right under. And this movement is one of the things, like I said, yoga principle is about loosening the hip. This is one such practice that loosens the hip. And that's why you might feel very comfortable after doing such a practice. You might feel relieved after doing such a practice. Can we all do the practice? Get down. Let's do 5 rounds each on your mat, palms right under the shoulders. With the breath, inhale, you look up, chin up, and mouth closed. Exhale, chin down to the chest, round your spine, navel drawn in. Hold it just for a moment, and then repeat. Inhale, chin up, look up. Explore the movement in the spine. Entire palms on the floor, right under the shoulders. Remember, hands are bearing quite a bit of our weight. And mouth closed. Please breathe only through the nostrils. Okay, let me check how you guys are doing. Malik, nice. Keep moving with the breath. Yes, lower back is also involved. Mostly the hip is what is moving. It's called the pelvic tilt, and you should watch that and understand that this is a very important differentiation. You can move your back, you can move your hip. Most of us don't move our hips and we move only our backs, and that's the stress the back takes on a daily basis. So differentiating the hip and the lower back is a very important learning that we can have in back care. Okay, if you've all finished 5 rounds, let's move to the next one. Balasana. You can see this child's pose. Please watch that the palms are not on the floor, the fingers on the floor. Stretch it out, and head need not be on the floor. You don't have to put your head down. But look at the hips. Hips are closer to the heels or resting on the heels. So it's a gentle lengthening of the spine, especially the upper back. You'll start to feel it in the upper back. We do talk about back pain, mostly to lower back, but there's a lot of examples or conditions that we see of upper back conditions, stiffness in the upper back, shoulder blades, and that neck region. There's a lot of stress and pain there as well. So just relieving that, stretching that. Please sit back on the heels and stretch your arms out. Fingertips would be a good idea, and just stay there and breathe. Feel free to take breaks in between if you think your shoulder is hurting. You could take a short break and start off all over again. The idea is to stretch the upper back. You will also feel it in the hip and the lower back, the glutes as well, but it's mostly focused on the upper back regions. Stay on the fingertips.
Your shoulders are hurting, only one of the shoulders. Even after relaxation, is there any bypass to that?
You already have a shoulder condition, is it?
No, I don't have any shoulder condition, but
Okay.
one of the things feels like a bit more stretched and it gives me more pain.
Okay. I would say just because it's not an injury, just take breaks in between the elbows on the floor. But otherwise, return to that stretching part, lifting the elbow up. Maybe one arm is stretched too much as compared to the other. Check on that as well. But taking breaks will surely help. Elbows on the floor to take breaks. Couple of breaths more before we end the practice. Yes, and then rest, elbows resting on the floor. And then help yourself up and get to lie down on your stomach into what is called Makarasana. Lying on the stomach, elbows are propped right under the chin and palms supporting the chin. Again, adjust, check that shoulder region, check if you're able to adjust that a little better. You don't want to shrug the shoulders. Make sure there is a lot of space around the neck and shoulders. Very important learning that we can have in this posture, everybody. While you're in this posture, initially you just let go of the abdomen, let the abdomen rest on the floor, and you might feel it more in the lower back. See where you feel it. I mean the bend. Now start to slowly engage the abdomen, draw the abdomen in, squeeze it in, and lift the navel maybe an inch off the floor. Hip is still on the floor, just the navel comes off the floor by drawing the navel in, sucking the abdomen in. And you'll soon see that the stress from the lower back is now slowly transferred onto the hip. Hip is made to take that stress, not the lower back. I'll repeat that one more time.
ब्लैकी को वॉक कराया तो क्या किसी के ऊपर कुछ किया है? और मैंने तेरे को कहा नहीं, फिर मैंने तो नहीं कहा था तेरे को कि तू मेरे साथ चल, तू अपने आप आ रहा है पीछे।
Yourself,
वो भी तो अपनी वजह से आ रहा है।
Please mute. Sorry, I'll continue to instruct. So first, relax the abdomen, just hold there, and you will still feel that the back is doing quite a bit of work, and the stress is more on the lower back. The abdomen is resting on the floor. Now start to engage the navel, draw it in, and lift the navel off the floor while your hip is still on the floor. And this is the difference between engaging the lower back and engaging the hip. Most of us don't engage the hip, and we use the lower back for almost everything, every movement. And so learning the difference between the hip and the lower back engagement is going to be a big game changer to take care of the lower back. So last couple of breaths. And after that, put your head down, turn the head to the right or to the left, and arms by the sides, relax the shoulders, rest for a moment. Head turn to one of the sides, right or left, and the shoulders resting, arms by the sides, abdominal movement. Just watch your abdomen going up. This also relieves the back from the stress because the back is not on the body weight is not on the lower back, right? So back gets a little relief when you lie down on the stomach. You could turn to the other side. You also want to make sure your neck is not hurting. So even on both sides, right side, left side. And slowly, once you've done both sides, use your palms next to the chest, sit upright and lie down on your back. On your back, knees bent. You can see the picture. It's called the shoulder bridge. Again, very careful. This changing positions from stomach to back should be very carefully done. Lie down. Palms can rest on the floor. Press the palms against the floor and lift the hips up. If you watch the picture, you'll see that the hips, the feet is hip width apart. Don't hold the feet together. Hip width apart. Nice. Once again, that navel drawn in, squeeze buttocks and hold it up. Feel free to rest in between. Mouth closed, chin to the chest, and you're simply engaging the abdomen as long as you can hold. And when you want to let go, lower the hips, rest the hips for a moment. Relax. Remember the glutes and the groin region is all part of the core. So engaging them is an important part of keeping a back safe. Repeat the practice. Lift your hips up. Feet firm though. Press your heels. Lift your toes up. Press your heels on the floor and lift toes. Only the toes, not the ball of the foot. Only the toes. That way you'll engage the legs more. Squeeze the buttocks. Draw the navel in. Don't allow the abdomen to just expand, but draw it in. Nice. Mouth closed. Breathing. You stay there. Lower the hip down, relax. Feel free to hug your knees. Hugging knees in between. We'll do one last round. So gently hug, bend at the hip, breathe against the thighs, and then return back, feet back on the floor. One last time. Now you know the leg position, very important. Feet have to be hip width apart, nice and firm. Hands by the sides, pressing against the floor and lift your hips up. Back to the same position, the shoulder bridge, Asana. And drawing the navel in and at the same time, drawing the glutes. Draw the lower back in and stabilizing the core. Lower the hips down finally and Shavasana. I hope all of you can see the slide, Shavasana. Modified. Your feet remains bent, but knees together. Feet are apart, knees together.
Pradeep, you may have to reshare the slide.
Sure, sir. I'll do that. Here you go. Anybody with back position should modify Shavasana.
That leg is swollen a little bit. Yeah. I have a whole.
Hey, Pradeep, you were muted accidentally. Sorry.
Okay, sorry. So I was talking about Shavasana. We might feel I have a back condition, I need to rest. And what's the posture we choose? Shavasana, legs stretched out, right? Normal Shavasana. It's not usually such a good posture for most of us when we have back pain. So in a yoga class, or even when you want to rest for a while, there are two options. If you still want to lie down on your back, please bend your knees, feet on the floor and knees together, like you see in the picture. I hope all of you can see the picture. And so that's what you should be doing, rather than stretching the legs out. The moment you stretch your legs out, your back starts to arch, and there usually pain gets to aggravate in that region. So resting can be done here, and that abdominal movement, a good posture to be working on the abdominal movement as well, inhaling and exhaling. Now, the best posture for resting during back condition is Matsya Kridasana. You can watch the picture. You lie down on your stomach, bend one of the knees, and turn your head to the same side. I hope all of you can see the picture, called Matsya Krida. Feel free to cross your palms on top of each other and rest your head. The knee and the head is turned to the same direction. And this is a fantastic posture for people with back condition to rest in. And please don't use a pillow here. You don't do it on the bed. If you're doing it on the bed, don't use a pillow at all. A firm surface is required for such practices. And knee can come closer to the chest. You can figure out where your back condition is today, and then where do you feel more comfortable with the knee. Breathing in and out, deep breaths in and out. Coordinate every movement with the breath, and that's also how we said we will improve our body awareness. And so complete last breath through this side and then shift over to the other side. Move over, bend the other knee, straighten this one, then turn the head to the other side. We'll take a few breaths on this side as well. Conscious breathing, take deep breaths. Abdomen is free to breathe here, so you can utilize that space. Breathe in deep, exhale out. Sometimes you might even want to prop your knee on a pillow. Just place a pillow under the bent knee. These are ways to figure out what's that right position for my lower back to rest in. Because rest is one of the important things in back pain management. You need to rest, and finding a good position to rest is a little challenging. That's why all of these props will help. Don't hesitate to prop a pillow under the knee. And that you'll figure out if you do a one-on-one class with a teacher, you should be able to figure that out. All right, now slowly sit upright and back to the sitting posture. We'll take a quick look at how we sit at the desk and why that causes more pain. We've heard sitting is the new smoking. That's because we use the wrong sitting posture. Else, there are people sit for hours, but in the right posture, it may not hurt. But in the wrong posture, sitting for a short duration will start to hurt the lower back. And so if you look at this slide, simple things, I'm sure you must have seen this. But the problem with most of us is we know what's the right posture, but we're not able to do this day in and day out. When we sit long hours, it's very natural for us, for most of us at least, to slide and slouch. That's also because of lack of core strength. Core stability isn't there, body awareness isn't there. And so we realize that we are in a bad posture much later. After the damage is already done, that's when we realize. So increasing body awareness, getting to know my body, knowing where how my posture is while driving, while sitting at the desk, or whatever I'm doing, will come with regular yoga practice. You will get to connect to your body at any time you want. And you'll know about your posture. And when you know about your posture, you will avoid a lot of the wrong postures. And it comes from within. You really don't have to learn all of this information from outside. Body has, we all have our own, bodily intelligence. If only we connect to our body, if only we listen, if only we observe the body, we can make small changes by ourselves, by our own knowledge of the body. You don't even need an expert to help you with. So point is, yoga practice, regular yoga practice is going to help you increase your awareness of the body. And so if you know some of these right postures to take, I'm sure the picture is self-evident. Sitting upright, you see that lower back is not undergoing a lot of stress in the right postures at the bottom. So, and the other part is stability. You look at the feet part, the first two pictures on the top, the feet is dangling, it's hanging. And so most of us sit with our feet hanging, also because the height of the seat is not right. We've chosen maybe higher seat, so the feet naturally has to dangle. It's not firm. So only when the feet is firm is when the stress is less on the lower back. The foundation has to be firm. So hip has to be firmly placed, feet has to be firmly placed. And so height of the chair is going to be an important factor, and the back support is going to be an important factor. Where you support your back, and supporting your hip is a fantastic thing. But you support your upper back, then you quite natural for most of us to feel pain in the lower back. So the part you need to support is your hip. Remember the lower back, just below the lower back is the hip. So you need to keep the hip upright. Spine, lower back will automatically stay upright because the spine is attached to the hip. So the foundation is that we need to keep the hip upright, the spine will stay upright. And of course, with core strength and also awareness, we can keep the spine upright. So that's a little bit about what you could do with your sitting posture. Again, it all comes back to how much of this I can do on a daily basis. That's to do with bodily awareness and my ability to keep exercising on my body every single day. And all of these skills come with the practice of yoga. This is what you do in a yoga class. You're learning to do small things every single day. It doesn't matter if it's boring. It'll not matter if it is you lost the excitement, but you keep doing that over and over again. And these small things that we do every single day is what brings about huge changes in our body and mind. So that's about a little bit about the sitting posture. We'll not go too deep into ergonomics because that's a whole large topic. But hopefully this was helpful. What are the few things that we need to avoid? We're almost at the end of our presentation. We'll open up for questions soon. Unsupported back bend. This is in a yoga class. Okay, you're already started doing a yoga class. And what are the things to avoid apart from bad postures and bad ways of lifting weight? In a yoga class or in an exercise class, what are the things you need to avoid? Avoid any unsupported back bends. Maybe I'll be able to explain this maybe in a yoga class better, but for now, just know that back bend seems to be a good thing to do because especially with slip disc and sciatica, bulging disc, doctors recommend back bends. They say avoid forward bends, but not all back bends are good. So there can be a proper supported, safe back bend, and there could be unsupported, unsafe back bends. So you need to be able to differentiate. That's why a yoga teacher is important, at least when you're learning as to what back bends would be good. Even though back bends in general are good for slip disc and sciatica and impinging nerves. Forward fold, the forward bends, you shouldn't be doing it with the knee straight. See, for example, you're standing upright and you bend down to pick something on the floor with your knees straight. Now that is invariably going to have a lot of stress on the lower back. So if you have to bend forward, let it be with the knees bent. Simple rule to follow, not only in a yoga or an exercise class, but also in your everyday activities. If you have to fold from the hip, knees have to be bent. That's when the lower back will remain safe.
But Pradeep ji, can I ask a question here? When you do
Quick
Surya
one to
Namaskar,
do with the slide, yes.
yeah, with the slide. So when we do the Surya Namaskara, we do bend forward without bending our knees, right? Like, isn't it?
I
What
would say bend the knees. I mean, I'm sure the yoga teachers are mentioning about that, right? Back conditions, please bend the knees. They keep saying that. But
Okay.
take it from this interaction, please bend the knees, especially back conditions, please bend the knees. When you learn to engage the core, maybe you have a little more support for the lower back. Then you can start to explore straightening the knees. But until then, do not. Bend the knee when you fold forward. Place your hands down. Knees are bent. Abdomen is on the chest. Abdomen is on the thighs. Chest is on the knees. Head is down. That's a safe posture. Same thing when you come up as well. Keep the knees bent and then come upright. I'm talking about Surya Namaskara. For those of you who know Surya Namaskara, bend, knees bend. We have a posture where we bend forward and come back up again. And so in that posture, knees have to be bent. Let's move on. Then, of course, avoiding sudden movements is very important. Very small, insignificant movement can cause muscular pain, ligamental tear, or even slip disc for that matter. It happens. It's just that it's weakened, and it just takes that one silly movement, sudden movement that might cause the damage. And so what you learn in yoga class is to move with the breath, meaning you will never move unconsciously. You will learn to be aware of the movement you're doing, and which means you'll avoid a lot of unnecessary, unwanted, sudden movements that might cause injury. Not just the lower back, it might be injury to the hamstring, wrist, shoulder, neck. So many injuries could be prevented simply because with yoga practice, you are conscious about the body and you're moving consciously. That's why we use the breath coordinate with the body, which means that's the way to connect to the body. That's the way to be conscious about the body movement. And physical exhaustion. This is not physical exercise, it's physical exhaustion. When I'm tired, the first part that I want to rest is my core. When I'm totally exhausted, I'm slouching, right? Why? Because the core is now shrunk. The center part, the lower back, the abdominal part, the sides. And obviously, when I am tired, physically tired, I don't have the energy to support my lower back. And injuries mostly happen then. They may not be happening at an intense physical activity you're doing, but towards the end of it, or when you're coming out of it, when you're exhausted, when you're tired and you let go and you're not supporting your lower back, that's when some of the injuries happen. So don't take yourself to the point of physical exhaustion. Any physical activity you engage in for your health, for your lower back, don't push yourself to that point where you're totally exhausted. Again, I talked about over-exercise. This is also related to that. Exhaustion is not the way to do an exercise. Exercise is something that you should be able to sustain throughout your life, no matter what your age. So age of appropriate exercise, of course, but you should not require a long rest after an exercise routine. You should actually feel energized soon after the exercise. Now, that's the right amount of exercise. That's the right intensity of exercise. If you feel tired and if you need about an hour's rest after a good physical workout, that's overdoing it. It will, at some point, like I said, physical exhaustion, I lose awareness of body, I lose my alignment, and that's where quite a few of these injuries happen, especially lower back injuries happen. All right. What about Shvasa programs? What are the programs that we run, not just for back pain, for a lot of other things, but since this is about back pain, I'll talk in relation to back pain. We have a one-on-one sessions. That's mostly for people who just starting out yoga, but have a condition, health condition. For them, learning yoga is a new thing. At the same time, keeping the body safe is the other important thing. So a group class may not be the right setting. So one-on-one is the best. So we have online one-on-one classes that you could join, and attend to your specific conditions. And each one of our condition is very different. We can say back pain, but each one of our back pain conditions are at least slightly different from each other because of the lifestyle we have, because of the personalities we are, because of the body types that we have. We have regular back pain group classes as well. Now, once you gain a certain understanding, fundamentals of back pain and your own body and what to do, what not to do, we have regular back pain group classes. Because again, doing an exercise routine just for a week or maybe a day or on the weekend is not going to help cure the back pain. You know, this back pain that most of us have, we've started with the wrong posture, wrong activity long back. It may not have happened yesterday or day before, a week ago. This wrong habit of bodily posture might have started when we were young, meaning it has taken so long for us to get to this point where the back is now broke. Now, to reverse that, obviously, we need to give time. The minimum time you need to give is 3 months, nothing less than that, especially safely coming out of a back condition. To be able to do everyday activity, you need 3 full months, fully dedicated practice and under the hands of a good teacher. 3 months is a must. Don't take any shortcuts because, like I said, if it has taken us so long to get to that condition, how long will it take to reverse that condition? So just think about that and don't rush into or don't look for shortcuts. We also have something called the back pain challenges. It's called a challenge, but it simply means that it's challenging you to overcome the inhibitions of having a back condition or the pain that you're going through, to overcome that and to fight that back pain. And that's a challenge that we say. I mean, it simply means that it's like a 2-week challenge or a 2-week program that you can attend, maybe understand a little bit about back condition, do the right practices, but it's a limited period practice. Now, there was the regular group practices. Now, this one is more limited. And we have a restorative. I also said rest is a very important part of back care. So restoration, bodily restoration, breath restoration, mental restoration is done in a restorative class. So in combination to whatever is also do responsibility. Do not underestimate breath and other such practices. It's not just a physical practice. Back pain, okay, it's physical, so I only have to do physical practice. Actually, no. The breath can do a lot more to your back than you can think of. So along with the body, do practice breath, and also Yoga Nidra is one other practice that you could do. This is again a restorative category. You will be lying on your back or maybe other suitable posture, and it increases awareness of body. It also helps you get to the root of the problem, and physical sensations is heightened. So you'll be able to track where it's coming from, or even to understand what that pain is. And this is a fantastic practice. So breath and sense practices are also part of the solution that we offer at Shvasa. Okay, that's it from the program side of it. Let me quickly take you.
So Pradeep, I have a question regarding these programs, and since we're talking about the session, one-on-one group classes,
Sure.
You didn't specify about the cost, because we need to know the cost, and then you really did a very good presentation. I like it. Thank you.
Most welcome. I'm glad you were able to pick up something from this presentation. So here's the offer for you, just because you asked. Obviously, the pricing varies based on where you're located, because the pricing will show in your the state you are in. I mean, if you're in Canada, it will show in CAD. If you're in US, it will show in USD. Middle East, it will show in AED. India, it will show in INR. So just log into the screen and you'll be able to see the pricing part on our website, shvasa.com. And those of you who are in the seminar, you get a 15% off on a 3-month unlimited package. Look for that particular package, you'll get a 15% off. on that just because you guys are in the seminar. This is offer for just for you. And you can meet our support team. Here's the email address and WhatsApp number. I hope all of you can see the email address and WhatsApp number clearly. Make a note of this, and you can reach out to us. If you're in the group also, the WhatsApp group, you should be able to connect to us. We will be able to help you out. On your own, if you want to just log into our website, go to the pricing page and look for this 3-month unlimited individual package and use the coupon code special webinar. And you'll immediately get a 15% off over and above what the offer that we already have on our site. You'll get an additional 15% off. And so since it's going to be different, I mean, people from different places will need to check in your country what is the pricing, and you will surely get this offer whichever country you're in. So please make a note, this email ID, WhatsApp number, and you're in the WhatsApp group. Even there, you can reach out to us if you want to start off the practice. And there's a trial period that you can take as well. And so please try it out, and we will be able to, you'll get a good feel of what the program is about and what it takes from my side to get into a program like this. And maybe then you will be able to take a call on this. But once you're ready, please give it 3 months period for you to really experience changes that will motivate you to take this up for the rest of your life. Taking care of ourselves, our body, our health, the rest of our life.
Hey Pradeep, this is Sonia. I took the trial sessions, but what I felt in the group classes was it was not according to my pace. And so you mentioned especially the back-to-back and also the group, when it becomes a larger group, it's very hard for the instructor to focus on how we are doing.
Sure, Sonia. So, what class did you take, Sonia? Was it?
I took the beginner, intermediate beginner, but I was not very happy with those classes. Not to say
both intermediate and beginners.
So I don't remember the names. I can
Hey
share
Pradeep, hi everyone. This is Arunima. Pradeep, long back our classes were beginner, intermediate, but now we've segregated the beginner classes and the intermediate classes. So for people who are newbies or absolute beginners, now you will not find that problem. Earlier we used to have the same class for beginners and intermediates because the class size was much smaller. Even now, so now because there are many people who are coming in, we've segregated classes and no class will have more than 10-15 people. So the class size is always very small and each and every person will have individual attention. So in fact, when you are practicing also, it comes up on the screen of the teacher that, this person has back pain. So then they will tell you, they will give you an alternate or a variation of the exercise. So that was a problem which was long back. Now you will, once you do the beginner classes, it's not going to be the same.
So Pradeep, my question to you are pain group classes, right? That's what you mentioned in the previous slide. So so that is specific to people who have back issues, maybe different kind of back issues. So how many people would be there in that group class? For me, 15 is a large number in a group. That is any class.
Usually in this back condition classes, we don't find it going up to 15. But that's a maximum we take, is what I mentioned in that slide, that up to 15. But usually you'll find this in especially targeted classes, it is still small, 7-8 people are there. And the yoga teacher, over a period of time, they get to know your practice, they get to know your limitations, your strengths. And so they will be able to manage 7 to 8 very easily over a period of time, because they're seeing you every day when you practice.
Yeah, so I believe 7 8 is a reasonable number. 15 is not a reasonable number, especially when you're on a video and the screen, that it's very hard for anybody to focus on 15 people at the same time.
I also agree on that. I think more than 10 people, I don't think the teacher will be able to focus on each and every one of us very well. He may overlook, even if we are practicing incorrectly, we might be overlooked, and that can result in injuries and bad postures if it's more than 10 people. 15 is a lot of people, I think. So I agree
Hey
with that
folks,
person.
thanks a lot for the feedback. And it's not about 10 people or 15 people. In that way, even 5 people are a lot, and 80% of classes have less than 8 people in the class. It really depends on the time that you join. If you join 6 a.m. EST, there's usually a lot of people in the class, so really it's up to you guys. We have over 40 classes in a day. You can just choose and pick the classes that you want, and we are always here, the moment we see that the teacher can't manage, we add another class at the same time.
I agree with other group members. 15 is really unmanageable because even if it is in beginner class, as the name suggests, or intermediate class for that matter, because if a student is beginning, and teacher's focus should be more on getting corrections. As Pradeep ji was saying, if in the beginning, if you don't know how to manage yourself, it becomes a kind of an old habit and you continue to build on it. So the group class size, I don't think 5 is a more number, because, we can argue until however, we want to, but 5 to 7 is a decent size where teacher can focus on each and every one and be able to correct them. But 15 is way beyond any one teacher's capacity, and especially online.
I'm Stephen. I have a question. Sometimes depend on the teacher. In the beginning, usually the teacher, and some teachers always focus on the students. Some, they don't. They just in the beginning, they focus, after that slowly. Because I'm doing with the MYT yoga, I noticed the same thing, Some teachers really focus on all the students in the group class and also in the individual class. After that, once you're regular, then slowly that is sidelined. So that, I think the people like the organizer, Pradeep and all, should notice. Because others, what happens, the teachers sometimes will just a regular, and then
yes, Stephen, totally agree.
Some teachers use the as they instruct, they use the cell phone. So I think we had to be noticing that.
No, that's the advantage we have with the online classes. We record all the classes and we screen all the classes for quality, and the feedback goes immediately. If someone is using a phone in our classes, they would get to know immediately after the recording is available. We check and we send them a message saying that you cannot use a cell phone in the class.
And is the recording immediately available after the class, or it takes 24 hours to check it?
It takes some time, but not 24 hours. Are you looking at practicing?
It'll take maximum an hour, Pradeep.
An hour, Stephen.
Pradeep, you also give a one-on-one classes?
I do give group classes, Stephen, but yeah, for now that keeps me busy and all the other work. But yes,
Pradeep trains all our teachers, so he's busy with that most of the day.
So Pradeep, if you
please add something
in group, then let us know. We can give it a try, because otherwise the experience has not been the way we were expecting, and we are not saying what is good or bad. It didn't work for us. So each person is different. So we are just giving our honest and genuine feedback. So if you are holding any classes for back pain, and a group also is fine, it's provided it is a good enough number, and we can enroll for that classes. That's all I want to say from my end.
If I may add something, please.
Just a second. Thank you very much for your feedback, and Pradeep trains all the teachers, and very soon we are actually launching 4 classes a day only for pain management, which is basically because we saw that it was such a big issue, especially 7 a.m. EST, 7 a.m. PST, and 7 p.m. These are classes we are launching very, very soon. So completely point taken. We will check. If the teacher is not able to manage more than 7-8 people, that's the rule that we will take. Right now, we have not reached that situation in which a teacher is not able to manage. So thank you very much for your feedback. Yeah.
Shalini, you had to, you raised your hand for something.
Yeah, thank you. In fact, I was quite surprised when I heard that, they're not getting the individual attention. I was, in fact, I have a very contradictory experience here. I was quite impressed with how the instructor was actually able to aim at everyone. She was like, she had observations about every member in the group, and it wasn't a very small group either. So when you're holding the posture, I think that's a good time for the teacher to observe everyone, and she's able to do it. And she's not using the phone, for sure, I can tell you. I've been doing it for more than 4 months now, and I've had a wonderful experience.
What's the name?
Thank you, Shalini.
I've tried all of them. In fact, yeah, I've tried different time zones, different times as per my availability. And I've tried so many of them. I have no complaint from any of them. They give absolute attention to what you're doing, to each one of you.
Thank you, Shalini. I hope all of you will have this, same experience. We intend to, and we do a lot of hard work just to make sure everybody has that same experience.
I want to add something, Pradeep. I had a great experience with all my instructors. They paid attention. They made sure that we are not using a phone and we are just using like a desktop or an iPad, which is like a better view for them. And they would focus on me every time whenever I have a wrong posture or something.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for the feedback. Somebody else raised hand.
In fact, I've gone a step ahead. I do it on laptop, and I've connected my laptop for the classes. I connect my laptop to the TV. So it's always better to do it on a bigger screen. If you're doing it on the phone, it won't be really too helpful. And like she just mentioned, that the instructors always reminds you, they always suggest you to use a laptop instead of using your phones.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for that feedback. Somebody's raised hand. Kavita, you have something to share? Rennie?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to convey, I just wanted to say thank you to the entire team, right? Not just the teachers, but I know in my personal case, I needed some accommodations because I hurt my back halfway through like my first month. And Sumuk was great about putting it on hold, helping me get the right kind of support, and Shruti with helping me find the right classes, getting them scheduled. So I think as a team, you all do a great job of providing really good customer service. So I just wanted to recognize that because I know sometimes it feels like a thankless job and we ask for a lot of things. So great job, guys.
Thank you, Kavita. Rennie, Poonam, Yash.
Hi, Pradeep. Rennie here.
Go ahead.
Hi, thank you for this wonderful session. It was really very good. And I want to give a feedback on the yoga classes which I was taking. I joined Shvasa since 6 months. And with that, I had lower back pain before. And after joining the classes, my back pain has really reduced a lot by doing a lot of asanas and all. But all the instructors are very good. They correct us in the correct time. If we have doing any mistakes or the posture which we maintain is wrong, they correct us on the spot and ask us to do it properly. But all I have done with many other instructors, many different kinds, all were awesome. They are too good. They correct us and the classes are awesome. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you, Rennie. Glad your back is doing better now. Continue, please.
Thanks
continue.
a lot for Shvasa.
Yeah, thank you. Poonam, you have something to share?
Yes, Pradeep. Hi, Pradeep. I have a question on, you mentioned trial classes. How does one sign up for trial classes to check it out before I finally sign up on it?
Yes, as soon as you log into our site, you'll see it'll ask for a few questions. Immediately, you can sign up for a trial.
Poonam, you can just head to shvasa.com. Over there,
Okay.
there's a start 7-day free trial button. And once you click that, it'll just take some basic details. And then you can book your first 3 free trial classes. And that's for anyone else here. I'm just putting the link on chat. It's shvasa.com.
Okay.
And, yeah.
Appreciate that. And I have one more question. Pradeep, you mentioned the 15% off discount code based on because we are a part of this webinar. Is there a validity on that discount code? Because I'm going to be traveling for the next 1 month and I would like to finally sign up when I'm back home and in my comfort zone so that I can continue. So is there a validity on that code or is it just valid because I attended this session?
It's valid till the end of this month, but you could definitely start your subscription possibly. Let just somebody from sales reach out to you, and they will help you out with it. May I know your name, please?
Poonam.
Yeah, Poonam. So somebody will reach out to you, Poonam.
Thank you. Thanks. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for the session. It was really nice. Very informative.
Thanks, Poonam. Yes,
Have a nice day.
question.
Yes, Pradeep. I just want to say, I think it's been 4 months since I started Shvasa yoga. I really enjoyed the classes. I started having back pain after giving birth to my child. I never had back pain before. It's not like severe or anything, but it's like a mild aching pain. If I do more activities, exertion during the day, I feel more achiness. Otherwise, it doesn't. But after starting yoga classes, I really like the teachers as well. It has improved, but some days there's still pain than the other. So is it something that I always have to manage through yoga? Is it not going to like completely stop? No. Are there anyone else with the similar situation?
I mean, there are multiple factors here. I mean, food and exercise, weather, and other psychological factors are also there. But point is, you're on the right track. You started your practice. There will be ups and downs, but just continue doing your practice. On the days you cannot do the modified version of it or take it easy, but without breaking your habit. That's important because that's a major problem. We all buy into a certain, say, philosophy of practice, but the problem really is about adopting that into our everyday life. We fail, most of us fail in that part. So if you've come so far, 4 months, and you've been pretty regular, or you've made that a part of your life, that's a big win. So continue from here. You will soon, I mean, at some point, things will change exponentially, I would say. And now it's probably linear.
Yeah, I practice 3 times a week, but I think, like you said, at least 5 times a week would be better.
Yeah, your goal is to get to 5 times a week, and at some point every day. And few classes you can also do watching the recording also, if the time is not suited for you. But point is, it's a part of our routine. The more we do every day, it becomes very effortless. Otherwise, we need to drag ourselves onto the mat to do the practice. That's because it's not a habit yet.
Also, Pradeep, in my experience, Pradeep, in 6 months, you see a lot of changes. But when you keep it up, and when you do it for 12 months, when you do it for 2 years, at every instance, there are so many changes in the body, and it's all very, very effortless. So the changes that you see in 3 months and 6 months is very different from the changes that you see in a year and 2 years. Right, Pradeep? So the more you keep doing it, so I mean, I think that you don't have to live with back pain, but you need to have infinite patience and just stick with the practice. That's all that you have to do. It's unbelievable strength that you can gain through yoga, just by strengthening your muscles, just by better coordinating and using those muscles together. So I think that just have patience.
Thanks, Yash.
Thank you, Arunima. I think that was very encouraging. Thank you.
Hi, Kiran. You have a question?
Yeah. First, great session. So I know this was about the back pain, but does Shvasa do things in general, yoga, for, let's say, for my family? I have a wife and 2 kids.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have regular classes as well. Some are targeted, like back pain, weight management, or other stress, anxiety, but some could be just general well-being.
So we have close to 40 classes a day, in which no class will be bigger than 10-15 people. And at every hour, you will have classes for beginners, for intermediate. You'll have breathing classes. You'll have classes for meditation, yoga nidra. So and we have a family and friends account as well. So, one person can actually buy the subscription and 5 people can use
Arnima, your voice is breaking. Is that me or?
No, it's breaking up for me also.
Breaking up. Okay,
these
what
are,
Arnima,
it's like Netflix. So, you can, somebody from sales will reach out to you and will just tell you, just describe. So we have types of classes.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that'll be good. Thanks. Thank you.
Anybody?
Oh dear.
No, it could be.
Thank you, everybody, for, like I said earlier, weekend, end of the year, holiday season, but still you guys stayed back, practiced, listened, interacted. That's really fantastic. I think that's also one of our strengths that, we don't have to do everything by ourselves, but if we have a really good support team, things get easier. And so I'm glad we could share a little bit today. I wish you all the best. Please stay on your exercise routine if you've already started. If not, this is a good time. I mean, New Year, we always psychologically prepared somehow to say, okay, I'm going to do something for myself this year. And so take advantage of that state of mind and the start of your practice as soon as possible. And once it becomes a part of you, there's no looking back. And it's not just what we understand as the outcomes, but we get much more than what we think and what we have in mind, saying, okay, these are the 5 things I want to achieve. So I wish you all the best. I wish you not just with the health part of it, but generally in life, all the best. And I hope to see you guys in the classroom. Shvasa, some of the classes we should be able to catch up. And so with that, I end this webinar. Once again, thank you so much for all your time. Thank you all the supporting support team here, Shvasa support team, Sumo, Karunima, Riju, Puneet. Thank you all. Namaste. Have a fantastic weekend.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great one. And have a
Thank you,
wonderful
sir.
holiday
Thank you
ahead.
so much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you.